Hola. Ok, so ahora estamos en la unidad 2, lección 2. So we're going to work in this order. I know those numbers are weird. 1, 1, 1, then 1, 2, 1. So, but it doesn't matter. This is the order, okay? So now that you know the vocabulary, now we are going to work in commandos with pronouns. So we already know all the commands, okay? All the commands. If you need to go back and review it, you're welcome to do it. You might have to do it. So commandos with pronoun is when you use in your commands the pronouns, when you use direct and indirect of your pronouns. So I give you an example. For example, in English you will say, for example, we're cooking and then I'm missing the milk and I go say, hey, go and buy it. You know that it is the milk, all right? So could you please go to the supermarket and buy it? Or like this one, buy it. And also I can say, hey, let's see. So Juanito is missing his lunch and he is behind homework, and then I go and tell you, please, could you please buy it for him? You know, it is the lunch and for him is the lunch for Juanito, right? So in that command, I'm using direct and indirect object pronouns. So let's review the direct and indirect object pronoun. The direct object pronoun, right, in Spanish is me, te, lo, las, los, and las. Lo, la, los, and las is the most popular one. So this one pretty much replaces things, object. Not all the time, but most of the time, okay? Lo, la, los, and las, which is pretty much it and them. And then the indirect object pronoun is pretty much where the item is going to, and most of the time refer to people. And the most common one is le, nos, or les. Okay, they are the most common one. All right, so this one replaces object most of the time, and this one it tells you where the object is going to, and most of the time is people. All right, so here we're going to talk about the affirmative command. This is the formula. Every time you're telling someone what to do, all right, you and in the command is involved direct and indirect of your pronoun. This is what we do in Spanish. Command plus direct plus indirect, okay? Now, indirect of your pronouns, not all the time is going to be in the sentence, but the direct of your pronoun, yes, always going to be in the sentence. And the same thing in English, all right? For example, here I say buy it. It is the direct of your pronoun, and for them will be the indirect of your pronoun. So here I'm saying buy it. See, I'm using only indirect of your pronoun. And here buy it for them, I'm using direct and indirect of your pronoun. So what I try to say is in the comments, you're always going to see indirect, but direct, but not necessarily indirect. All right, but this is the formula. And you have to attach all the comments to the pronoun when it's affirmative. So, leche, I'm going to replace leche. Leche is feminine. La, leche, I'm going to replace it for la, and that will be, la will be in this case, it. So, comprar, what's the command for comprar? And I'm using, well, depend what command are you using. Are you talking to somebody who is familiar to you, or somebody who is older than you, or who you giving the command to? Then when you figure it out who you're giving the command to, then you get the verb and convert the verb into a command, and then you're going to attach the direct and indirect of your pronoun. Here it doesn't say for whom you're going to buy, right? Cómprala. Cómprala is buy it, but it doesn't say for whom you're going to buy, all right? So you don't need the indirect of your pronoun. Now here, this is the statement, compra la leche a ellos, right? Compra la leche a ellos. So I'm going to replace leche again for la. Now be careful with that la versus this la. This la, it's it, and this la means the, okay? So I have two different meanings. So compra la leche a ellos, I'm telling you to buy the milk for them, all right? Buy the milk for them. So in Spanish, or in English, where it comes first, it's the indirect. Let's see, the milk for them. So buy the milk for them, which is buy it for them. In English, you use the direct first and then indirect second. But in Spanish, it's the other way, indirect and then direct, all right? So here, compra la leche a ellos, buy the milk for them. Compra, so again, according to the formula, this one go first. I'm saying for whom you're going to buy the milk, which is them, right? Them is less. Compra, less. And then what I'm going to buy, according to the formula, the direct object pronoun, it's next. So I'm going to replace leche for la. So that would be comprale las. But it's a rule. In commands, you cannot have these two L's right here. So that means the indirect object pronoun, which is this one right here, becomes se. Okay, so that will be cómprasela. Becomes se. The indirect, not the direct, the indirect. So that will be buy it for them. Again, in English, the direct comes first and the indirect second, which in Spanish is the other way. The indirect comes first and then the direct comes second. Negative. When the command is negative, this is the formula. No plus indirect plus direct plus command. Now you don't attach anything. So here I have la leche, don't buy the milk. So we have no, then what is the indirect? It doesn't say for whom I'm going to buy, so I don't need to use it. And what is the direct? I'm going to replace la leche with la, because leche is feminine, even though ends in E, it's feminine. So no la, and then I'm going to give the command. Who I'm giving the command? Usted, ustedes, tú, nosotros, command. In this case, it's two commands, so remember, have to end in S, you got to drop and add ES. No la compres, don't buy. Now, no compres la leche a ellos, which is don't buy the milk for them. All right, here I'm saying I don't want you to buy, and for whom I don't want you to buy. So here I'm going to use direct and indirect. Follow the formula. No, so, no, right? What is ellos? What is the indirect? Ellos. So less, right here. And then what you don't want them to buy, the milk, right? And then comprar, compres, because it's negative again, and then you gotta drop and you gotta add ES because it's the two commands. But again, you cannot have the two L's just like here. You cannot have those two L's. So the indirect becomes se, no se la compres, okay? And you cannot attach it when it's negative. You only attach it when it's affirmative. Okay, now what I have here, okay, so here is just a quick review about direct and indirect object pronoun. Like I say, direct object pronoun is all this, but the most popular one is lo, la, and los and las. And indirect object pronoun, the most popular, or not the most popular, the one you're going to use the most is les, nos, and les. This one right here replaces object most of the time. This one right here, it tells you where the object is going to and refer to people most of the time. Okay, I guess we're repeating here. Let's see what is in here. Oh, okay. Okay, I guess, oh, I got it. Let's see. So you have an activity there, but I'm going to move it. The activity should not be there, so don't worry. Then we have impersonal se. Okay, this is part of the lesson. Impersonal se, this is something different, all right? This is impersonal se. Let's see what is impersonal se. How I do this right here. Impersonal se. Okay, so you're going to use the impersonal se to avoid a specification of who is doing the action. So this is pretty much when you're giving information to everybody. It doesn't go to just a one specific person. It's to everybody. All right, so if the noun is singular, you have to conjugate the verb for the L form. Remember, the L form is the usted, él, o ella. So you conjugate the verb for the L form if the noun is singular, but if the noun is plural, you're going to conjugate it for the ellos form. For example, se habla español aquí is a message for everybody. Doesn't go to one specific person. Hoy se come helado aquí. Se hacen letreros aquí, se lavan carros, se limpian ventanas. Pretty much we use this when we want to have, in signs. which is information for everybody. So I conjugate hablar for the el form because it's Spanish, is one language. I'm conjugating hacer for the ellos forms because it's letreros, it's more than one. Lavan en ellos form because it's carros, and limpian de ellos form because it's ventanas. Again, this message is for everybody. It's this way you don't specify for whom this message is going to. Now, if I want to be very specific, I will say, tú tienes que hablar español. That also will be a comment because I'm telling you what to do, right? But this is different. This is a impersonal say. Doesn't specify who this message is going to. Okie dokie. And then we have impersonal expression, the last one for this chapter. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Okay, impersonal expression plus infinitive. So what does that mean? When you want to state your opinion or make some indirect suggestion, that's what you use. You use impersonal expression, okay? Again, when you talk like this, never indicate who should do it. For example, it's important to sleep 8 hours. You know, it's just a general information. I'm not saying you need to sleep 8 hours because then it will be a comment. This is just my opinion. This is my suggestion, okay? It's necessary to eat every day broccoli, all right? So again, it's my opinion, my suggestion, and this is just general for everybody. So what is the formula for impersonal expression? You have to use the verb ser, an adjective plus infinitive plus a noun, blah, 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 blah. Then the verb ser have to be conjugated in the el form, okay? Present or past tense, depend what you try to say. For example, remember the formula is ser plus adjective plus infinitive plus more noun, blah, blah, blah. So you want to say something in present tense, es bueno comer frutas todos los días. Now, past tense, fue divertido ir a Busch Garden el verano pasado. It was fun to go to Busch Garden last summer. Imperfecto, era necesario escribir notas en la clase del señor Guzmán. So it was very necessary to take notes in the Guzmán's teacher's, Mr. Guzmán's class. All right? So it all depends what you try to say. That's how you're going to conjugate the verb, and this is the formula. All right? And again, this is your opinion. This is your suggestion. Okay. Now to predict, okay, to predict, you got to do ir plus a plus ser plus adjective plus infinitive, okay? So be careful with this one. This one is impersonal expression. This is ser plus adjective plus infinitive plus blah, 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 which is the noun. This one is ir. So it's pretty much this one plus ir plus a, okay, to predict something in the future, not in the past, in the future. So, for example, it's going to be hard to pass the test. It's going to be easy to do homework, all right? So in Spanish, when you want to talk like that, this is the formula you use. Ir always have to conjugate it for the el form. Va a ser difícil pasar el test. Va a ser fácil hacer la tarea, okay? Ir, you conjugate ir, but you do not conjugate. This ser cannot be conjugated. Remember, after preposition a, you never, ever, ever can conjugate any verb. You conjugate ir, but you do not conjugate ser, okay? Va a ser difícil pasar el test o va a ser fácil hacer la tarea. You're predicting about something in the future, not in the past, okay? All right, so we have finished, I believe. So what I need you to do is go so go to assessment and homework and start doing your work for 2-2. Talk to you soon. Adios.